for the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Waiting to be profiled is veteran stage and screen performer Patty Maloney and author Boze Hadleigh. Patty Patty Maloney, who, as you would expect, was born on St. Patrick's Day. I'm giving you all kinds of names, Mahoney, Maloney.
Everybody does. It's no problem.
She's one of Hollywood's most recognizable little people. She made her Broadway debut opposite Billy Barty in Wonder House at the Broadhurst Theater. She first started performing professionally in the traveling carnival production of Nate Eagle's Little People show. From there on, you went to the circus,
yes.
Or did you go to the circus first?
No, I went to the circus after we did the carnival show.
But how did that happen at that time with Little People?
Well, it's interesting because I was 12 years old at the time, and I didn't even realize that I was a little person. I had never seen anyone that was my size. And one day, kids in my class, and I went to the carnival. And they're on the stage with all these little people, and they were doing a show. And I had studied dance since I was 3 years old, and I always wanted to be a dancer. And I thought, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And I mean, they were doing everything.
Were you regular size then?
No.
You were?
No, but I didn't know I wasn't.
I see,
I wasn't aware of it.
I see.
Because I was treated just like anyone else at home. I mean, I wasn't given any special privileges.
Did you have other members of your family, brothers
yes,
and
I have
sisters?
a sister that was 4 years younger, and she was taller than me. But I used to take care of her, and I'd have to get her on the bus and get her to school. And I was about half the size of her, bossing her around.
I see.
And so when I went to the carnival, all of a sudden there were these little people, and I realized that I was just like them. So I thought, well, if they're doing this, then I can do it too.
But they were much older than you,
They were
weren't
much
they?
older. The youngest, besides me, was 21.
Oh.
And then they were older than that. But I was their baby. My parents really didn't want me to do this. But it was like, to me, it would be like doing summer stock, you know.
Is that how you felt about it? Because what did you actually do? Was it an actual performance?
Absolutely.
It wasn't like a sideshow thing. That's what was starting to bother me when I read your bio and thought about these things.
Definitely not, because my parents would have never allowed that. It was everybody, it was a vaudeville show. And everybody in the show sang and danced, and they did duets, and they had like a chorus line, and everybody did production numbers. All the ladies were fitted in beaded gowns and high heel shoes, and the gentlemen wore tuxedos. And actually, Nate Eagle, when I first went with the show, after talking my folks into letting me go, and they let me leave for the summer.
At 12 years old?
At 12 years old.
That was pretty.
My mother said, there comes a time when you know you have to let someone go. And she felt it would be the best thing for me at that time. And I never realized until just a couple years ago how that really bothered her, you know.
I could imagine, to let her little girl go.
Yes.
And especially to be worrying about you, probably.
But the fact that we had gone to Sarasota and met Nate Eagle and seen how he lived and saw his family, and all the little people drove cars. They owned their own homes, and they were treated like adults. They were not treated like children at all. And when I went there that summer, Nate taught me how to dress, how to put on makeup, how to do my hair. We were never, ever allowed to put our hair in curlers. We were never allowed to walk out of a hotel. We lived in hotels. We had to wear shoes, high heels, nylons. We were never allowed to wear slacks.
Really? Was it the whole show, Little People show?
Yes.
Oh, so there was no mix. It wasn't a mix. Isn't
We had
that
our own
great?
stage, our own dressing rooms, our own lighting system. It was all condensed in one show.
But at that time, did they call you little people?
Yes, they did.
Oh, they did. I thought that
Because-
was a new term that had come about.
No, well, Nate didn't like to call you a midget or a dwarf because he felt that we were all miniatures.
I see.
And he used to call us his miniature people.
Oh, how cute.
And we had, one lady was a miniature Lana Turner, and she looked like Lana Turner. One lady was a miniature Rita Hayworth, and she looked like Rita Hayworth. It was just wonderful.
That's great. And then you went on to the circus after that?
Yes, I did that one season, and then Nate took the group with the circus.
Oh, the
And so
whole
that's
group.
how- yes, so
So it
that's
was
how-
Ringling Brothers?
We went with Ringling Brothers for one season. And it was great because it was when they were still under canvas, and we rode the circus train, and you'd put a penny on the track and the train would run over it, and then they'd mail you the penny for good luck. And
So
we
it
had
was-
Mass in the Big Top on Sundays.
So it sounds like you had a wonderful childhood.
I had a great childhood. And it was all my choosing, you know. I mean, I asked my parents to let me do this. And I'll never forget one time, my mother had taken me to doctors forever to see what was wrong, why I wasn't growing. And one time she took me into this doctor, and my mother said, he wasn't much taller than I was. And he said, what's the problem? And my mother said, well, she's so little. And he said, take her home, leave her alone.
Is that right? They didn't
And
try to
that's
do
what they-
any extension of the bones or any growth serum?
We went to John Hopkins when I was 12, just before my mother let me go with the show. She realized that now I knew that I was going to be small, because my relatives used to say, well, she'll shoot up just like her cousin Stevie, because I had a cousin that was small, and then overnight, she'll shoot up overnight just like Stevie. And I would go to bed and I'd think, if I shoot up overnight, what do I wear to school?
Oh, were you worried about it? Isn't this great that you really fell into your persona and stayed there
Yeah.
and never worried about it?
Never did, because my mother used to always say, it doesn't matter how tall you are,
She's right.
you know?
Then how did this jump to Hollywood happen?
Well, that's a long story, okay?
It's a longer story.
It's a longer story. Have you got some more time?
A few minutes.
All right. I always wanted to be a dancer, and my dancing teacher, Edith Royal, at the Buddy Upson School of Dance in Florida, used to take us every summer to New York to study. So I did the carnival, I did the circus, I went back home, I graduated high school, and went off to New York. Because instead of going to college, I wanted to go to New York and study dance. So that took me to New York. I stayed 7 years in New York, pounding the pavement, trying to get jobs, studying, working part-time jobs. And then I met this man in Chicago, this little guy, and I fell in love.
Really?
And I gave it all up.
You're kidding. Was he a little person
He
too?
was about 4'8", and I'm 3'11", so he was tall.
Was he categorized as that?
Yes, and he was a printer.
Did
at
you
a
go to
newspaper.
like clubs for little people? Is that how you met him?
No, I met him because a friend of mine was working at a nightclub in Chicago, and he used to come in.
I see.
And so I went to visit her, met my husband, future husband, got married, moved to Chicago, quit the business. All right, so we were there about 6.5 years when all of a sudden my husband died of cancer within 3 weeks at 27,
Wow.
which was a difficult thing
Sure.
to handle. And so I decided to go back to Florida, and my best friend in Orlando had a dancing school, and he said, get back in the business,
Oh.
because it's, it takes your mind off of everything. And so I did.
So you got back in the business, and we have a clip of you
Yes.
in the business.
Yes.
What do we have to show what you were doing?
Well, this is, I have a one-woman show that I'm working on right now, and I launched it at the Cinegrill, and this is a clip from one of the numbers
Oh,
that I
this
do.
is. Okay, is it a song? Is it original?
It's from a Broadway show called Black and Blue.
Oh, good. And then the choreography, you have a wonderful choreographer.
Yes, I have a wonderful choreographer and director, Joe Jamalva, that put everything together for me.
Did he write the act as well?
Well, it was a combination of Joe and my musical director, Stormy Sachs, and myself, and we just sat and wrote it.
So let's see what happened from
All
the time you got into Hollywood to how many years later is this now?
Oh, this is 20 years later.
20 years later, and she's ready
And
like
I'm still going.
everyone else with the one-woman show.
Yeah.
This is something from there. We'll
You
watch it.
bet.
I think this was at the Cinegrill.
Yes, yes.
Lucan.
Now, how'd you like to find this waiting at home for you every night? It's only been used once or twice, but it's still nice and tight. Yeah! If I can't sell it, I'm gonna sit back down on it. I ain't about to give this away.
I know, that's so great. Do you work out every day?
I do. I work out at a gym. Yeah,
Do you
I
still
do.
go to dance class?
I still go to dance class, yes.
Oh, well.
In fact, I know you take ballet class.
I do, from Madame Lachine, and you
I
used to
think
go
it's
there
good.
too.
Yes, I did.
Well, you have to go every day.
Yes, you do. You have to keep in shape.
Have you done, I know you've done a lot of TV work,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you've done a lot of movie work. You did Swing Shift. What did you play in that?
I was one of the Riveters. I was Rosie the Riveter with Goldie Hawn.
And what, Married with Children, you've done
Married
TV.
with Children, I did TV. I was spent a lot of my career playing Billy Barty's wife on television.
Oh, did you?
Yes, just about every time he had a wife, I was the one that was his wife. We did The Love Boat and Charlie's Angels and Trapper John and Little House.
Do you think there's more work for someone your size than for regular, normal, not normal, but people who go out and are auditioning for a lot? There's, so many roles, but there's so many people.
There's so many people for them. I don't think there's as many job opportunities, but I think when they do come up, you're so limited to the people that are qualified to do them that I kind of fell into most of them. you
I
know?
was talking about this the other night, and they said, it was a TV producer who said they use little people as stand-ins on the sitcoms when they have children. Have you done that kind of
No,
work?
I never, not that there's anything wrong with doing that. I certainly admire these people. I think it's very needed.
Is it like a
And
break-in for them, do you
It's,
think?
yeah, sort of. And it's, I've never done it because I've been very fortunate.
Yeah, you've gotten to work all the
Yeah,
time when you're working.
I get to do what I love to do in front of the camera, and when you're standing in for someone, then when the best part comes, you have to go sit down. And I don't like to do that.
Have you done a lot of commercials?
I haven't done very many commercials. That's an area that hasn't opened up for short people or little people yet. But it will.
What about voiceover? Do you have a little girl voice?
Yes,
Have
and
you
I-
done animation?
Yes, I did a series at Hanna-Barbera, The Little Rascals, when they put that in animation, and I was Darla Hood.
Oh, you were Darla?
I love doing that.
So do you
great.
still do that?
Yes, I still
Is
do.
there a change from the way, when you were talking about 20 years ago to now, do you see a change in the way you're perceived or the way Hollywood backs you or
Yes.
openings and opportunities?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's getting better. I think with the attitude of the 90s, people are starting to accept you more than they did before. And I think we have a long way to go.
Does
to
it make
get-
people self-conscious? Do you
Other
have
people around
little
me,
people, yeah.
are you self-conscious?
No, because you're just
No.
like me.
You know, it's
I
like-
mean, you can talk circles around me, and I think
Oh.
anyone who can talk and think is like got it made.
It's like, I think the greatest compliment that I could ever receive is when people say to me, I forgot you were short.
Oh, that's great.
And that's what it's all about, right?
And I forgot you were short too, even though you were using our
I
beautiful
love this
African
stool.
stool.
I love this stool.
We wanted you to be comfortable,
Well,
so
it's definitely
Kathleen Spiegelman sent over a special African stool for you from the
Isn't
stu-
that sweet? Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you all of you, and thank you to you,
And
Patty.
thank you, Joan. I loved being here.
Thanks, and good luck, because I know your show is going to go everywhere.
I
Keep
hope
singing,
so.
kicking, and dancing.
I will never stop.
Right. We'll be back with Boze Hadleigh, so don't go away. We're back, and I'm with author Boze Hadleigh. Boze seems to be really mad about Hollywood. I'm going to find out why today, and I'm going to find out all about him. But his newest book projects continue to be about Hollywood. He wrote The Lavender Screen, the gay and lesbian film through stars, makers, characters, what else?
And
critics,
right.
all of them. And you're also doing a new project called Hollywood Babylon.
Yes, Hollywood Babylon just out, excerpted in the May issue of Los Angeles magazine.
That's great. And tell me, are you from Hollywood? Where are you from?
Well, I grew up part of my childhood in Santa Barbara, so that was commuting distance, as it were, and I started interviewing very young, and then I got my degrees and been living in Beverly Hills for about 8 years.
Did you go to school in Santa Barbara?
Yeah, Santa Barbara High and UCSB. My father was a professor at UCSB.
Oh, so, but didn't the stars come to Santa Barbara all the time?
They moved there too. They would come to speak, you know, at the college campuses, people like Robert Vaughn, Jane Fonda, etc., political, and then people would move there like Jane Russell, Robert Mitchum.
And you were living there at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Were you a groupie?
No, I wouldn't say that. I was always interested in the business, and I was interested in books because my father was an author. My grandfather on my mother's side was an author. So, and that's part of what led to Hispanic Hollywood, because my mother is half Mexican. So therefore, although my name is Boze Hadleigh, for Hispanic Hollywood, I use George Hadley Garcia.
I remember seeing this book. This is a book that's really hard to keep on the shelves, because I know people
in
go
Los
out
Angeles,
to look for it, and there's so many, there aren't any.
No. This is the first quote-unquote major one. It came out in 1991. It's gone back to press. Now it came out in a 1993 edition, most recently.
Well, tell us how you chose the people in Hispanic Hollywood.
Well, we just wanted to do an overview of Hispanics in Hollywood from the silent era till today. And there have been dozens of stars who were Hispanic, whether you know them as Hispanic, such as Edward James Olmos or Dolores Del Rio.
Right, which you know right
Yes,
away.
from
But what
the
about
names.
the people that you don't know? Are
Rita
they in
Hayworth.
here?
Everyone's in here, and when it's someone like Rita Hayworth, we note her real name, which was Margarita Cancino, or Raquel Welch, who was born Raquel Tejada. Martin Sheen, his real last name is Estevez, and one of his two sons, who's a star, Emilio Estevez, and then Charlie Sheen on the cover.
Who is on the cover?
Well, Rita Hayworth is a blonde in that one film, The Lady from Shanghai, Dolores Del Rio, Ricardo Montalban, Andy Garcia, and Charlie Sheen.
Did these people cooperate with you, or did you need their cooperation?
Some of them were interviewed. I didn't require it because, you know, we had so much to cover from before the 1920s till today. There are 400 photos. So, of course...
How did you find the photos to put in here?
Wow, that was the hardest part in a way. Through collectors in the U.S., in Mexico, Spain, in Britain, and also at the memorabilia shops, but mainly collections.
So you had to be a good detective.
Yes. And some of them weren't easy. For instance, Ramon Navarro was a major silent movie star. After Valentino, he was the Latin lover. However, to find stills of him is not easy.
Did you find them?
Oh, I did find them, yes.
Do you go across the country looking for things?
Well, one also has sources. I do travel a lot anyway, more so internationally. And in London, I found a lot of things.
Oh, you did, about our people?
Yes.
And why was that, do you think?
The British are very big movie buffs, and some of the American stars who are forgotten from the 20s or 30s are still remembered in Britain.
Oh, that's great to know.
Right. I've had like a few books published in Britain that were not published in the U.S. yet. My latest book was The Lavender Screen. That came out in '93.
Let's talk about this, because I think this is really an
very
interesting... Well, and it's a crossover, you say.
It is.
And I don't know why it's a crossover.
Well, because the timing is right. It's about gay and lesbian themed films, famous films we've all heard of or seen with familiar stars performing the gay roles. And it's timely because Tom Hanks recently won the Academy Award for a gay role. William Hurt had won. Again, 300 photos. You'll recognize all the people in it.
Who are these on the cover?
This is from a film called Henry and June. The blonde is Uma Thurman, who will very soon, we hope, be seen in Even Cowgirls Get the Blues, a much-delayed movie.
Yes, a much-delayed movie.
And the brunette is Maria de Medeiros, which is a Portuguese name, and they played lovers in the film Henry and June. She was married to Henry Miller, but she had an affair with Anais Nin, the famous writer.
Right.
And it has crossed over. It's gone back to press. It's going back to press this spring for the 3rd time.
I think I have some of these pictures that you showed me.
From the lavender screen. Michael Caine and Christopher Reeve as lovers in Death Trap. There are lots and lots of major gay-themed films over the last...
I think this is a great photograph.
La Cage aux Folles #3. There were 2 sequels. Very successful.
And who are these people?
Well, one is French. Let's see. Michel Serrault plays Zaza, and the Italian actor Ugo Tognazzi, the late Ugo Tognazzi.
That's a wonderful photograph. I think this is great because we didn't expect to see something like Jack Lemmon,
Well,
right?
this is very timely about gays in the Catholic Church. Jack Lemmon is a priest, Zeljko Ivanik as a bisexual seminarian.
Now, is your book like an outing?
It doesn't.
I mean, are you outing people?
Not really. It's about the movies. It's also about the people who played them. There are some openly gay directors whom we mention in the book, such as John Schlesinger. He won the Oscar for Midnight Cowboy. He directed Sunday Bloody Sunday. We mention openly gay actors like Sir John Gielgud, Sir Dirk Bogarde, Sir Ian McKellen. Most of them are in England. We do mention as gay or lesbian late stars such as Barbara Stanwyck or Greta Garbo or Tyrone Power, gay or bi or lesbian. If they're alive and they're in the closet, no, we don't out them. I mean, you can't anyway.
I know, and I didn't. That's not the purpose of this.
No,
book.
it's not. I mean, it has a lot of behind-the-scenes information and gossip. If you want gossip, my new book, Hollywood Babylon, that is 100% gossip.
Is it? Tell us a little bit about that format.
Okay. Well, I'm not the author on that one. I'm the editor. It's a quotes collection.
Ah, that's great.
Right. And every quote, it's unique in this regard, every quote is 1 star dishing another star.
And how did you find all of those things?
Well, the files, you know, I've been writing for almost 20 years. And so from hundreds of sources, books, magazines, papers, it's amazing what stars will say about others.
Are they like really acidy kind of?
Most of them are very negative.
Can you remember one of them?
Well, Betty Davis said of Joan Crawford, who began in silent movies, she called her Hollywood's first case of syphilis.
Oh, did she?
Yes, she did. She did. Red Button said about Michael Jackson, jumping to the present, only in America can a poor black boy grow up to be a rich white woman.
Oh.
Lots and lots of
Really?
about 1,000 quotes.
Oh my gosh.
And all of them, and I didn't say any of them now. Everyone is 1 star talking about another star.
I think the great thing is the title. It's Babel.
Babble on.
Not Babylon.
No, not Hollywood Babylon. That was Kenneth Anger, but yeah, Hollywood
right.
Babylon, like keep babbling, keep talking. Right.
So I thought that was really good. We had one other, because I think this was like a turning point in the contemporary films.
Making Love, 1982, with Kate Jackson, Harry Hamlin, formerly of L.A. Law, and Michael Ontkeen. And it was a love story in which a man who is married to a woman has been repressing his gayness, but then he meets another man and can no longer live a lie, and so he comes out. And it was a breakthrough film. It was breakthrough. Now, would the gay community object to this kind of film today? Oh, no, not at all, because this is the sort of thing that happens. I mean, if you look at Hollywood's history, and we cover this in the Lavender Screen, a majority of gay and lesbian stars have been married primarily to cover up. Mm-hmm. There is less of it, but there still is a lot of it. Do you see any of that cover up in Hollywood Babylon? Does any of it come out? Yes. Well, in terms of, we have 8 chapters. One of them is entirely gay and lesbian gossip. Oh, it is? And so you do have people talking about others who are gay, lesbian, or bi. And gossip as well about heterosexual couples, about women talking about other women stars. So the other thing is, you talk about Hollywood, we're talking about Hollywood. You did a book on Jane Fonda, and you did Conversations with My Elders. Interviews. Were those were both on Hollywood? Oh, they've all been on Hollywood. I did one music book. That's what I was going to ask you. Did you create cause the wrath of the music industry with your vinyl? What's it called? The Vinyl Closet. It's about gays and lesbians in the music field. You know, there are far more open gay, lesbian, or bisexual singers than there are actors. And for decades already, whether it's Joan Baez, David Bowie, Elton John, recently Katie Lang, Madonna is bisexual, on and on, Boy George Michael, sort of. You know, but So really, Hollywood is much more uptight about this sexual honesty than the music industry.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
They're not against you then.
Well,
I thought they were
doubt
like
it.
ignoring you in a way.
Well, some people don't want it mentioned, you know. I mean, you know, it's not like you're getting into details about a person's life. It's like saying, are you right or left-handed? It's that general. But of course...
Well, we talk about it as being that general, but
Yeah.
maybe people who don't want to talk about it as being that general.
Well, again, you cannot legally out someone who is in the closet. All they have to say is, no, I'm not. And
that's why I asked if it was an outing type of book.
Right. That's not really the purpose. It's more to inform and to entertain. And the fact that, for instance, the Lavender Screen has crossed over to mainstream readers is proof that they find it of interest. It's timely now. Maybe 10 years ago wouldn't have been a success.
I think this is fascinating, and I think the idea of working with Jane Fonda, did she cooperate with you?
It was not authorized, but she cooperated with the photos.
Oh, she did?
This was in 1981,
so
when it was one of the first books on her.
Now, before we go away, what are you planning to do next?
Well, the thing mostly I'm going to be doing is talking about Hollywood Babylon.
But after that?
After that, a book on Hollywood lesbians.
Really?
Yes,
just totally singled out?
Well, Conversations with My Elders was interviews with gay men of film. So now this is lesbian women of film.
But is it going to be Conversations with My Lesbian Elders?
No, we hope for a more commercial title. I didn't choose that title. And a lot of people thought My Elders, so it's about old people. It's just that, for instance, when I met Sal Mineo, he was 32, I was 18, so he was my elder.
I see.
But as I say, we'll hope for a catchier title than that.
Okay, we'll look for it. And Boze Hadleigh, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks.
And thanks for watching. And thanks for all the letters you keep writing. Keep having them come. Send something to have Boze answer you. We'll see you next time.